more than that, that there was a current environment about data in which data wasn't as important as anything else. It was considered to be it is considered to be kind of a sideline effect of being online, that you happen to be generating data. Just like if you're watching TV, you're generating time. It's not really important that you're generating time, you're watching TV. Well, if you're working online, you're just generating data, and there's a real sense of that, of like, don't worry about the data, just do what you do and have fun with it. And what I was specifically very unhappy about was something about AOL Hometown. Now, AOL Hometown was a put your own website on our site that AOL ran. It allowed you to generate a homepage. And so people had, for years, created AOL Hometown homepages, which had all of their information and stories and everything else. And then one day, AOL said, sorry, we're gonna shut it down. Bye. And that was the full extent of it. They gave you some arbitrary warning, I think it was 60 days, and said, bye. And then one day, now bear in mind that the way that they notified people was they just sent mail out to the last known email address, most of which bounced, because these things had been around for years. And then when AOL went down, when it actually went down, AOL Hometown went down, they just redirected every single page to this one weblog entry saying, hi, we shut down. And the comments on that thing are heartbreaking. There are people who are just like, I couldn't figure out how it worked. What do I do now? People who are like, my husband died and he never gave me the password, and this was my only connection to him in his days in the Air Force. How do I get the pictures back? To which there's no answer. I mean, they never answered the blog. It was a fake blog. A blog implies a person, an actual human being, communicating with you about things in a time-based fashion and then responding to your queries. That's not what that was. This was a press release with a comment section. And so people were miserable. And I said, this is going to be it. This is what's going to happen. This is going to happen over and over again. We're going to lose websites, and people are going to be like, oh, that's a shame. And right now there's this whole variation on that. So like, for instance, here's one that's, no one should really give a shit about, which is Yahoo had something called Kickstart, which was meant to be your way of putting your resume online, and just one day it disappeared. And they said, yep, why don't you use Yahoo Hot Jobs? That's like using this. And it was out. Now, in that particular case, all you lost was your resume, which in theory you kept another backup of, I hope. But in this case, again, you get this nice, pretty little stock photo of a woman with a light bulb, which I still don't understand. And then go to Yahoo Jobs, go to a thing like we were now that we're gone. We're done. This happens all the time. Places are constantly going down now. Microsoft Encarta died. Woo-hoo! And the other places like Yahoo Briefcase. Now, Yahoo Briefcase is very interesting. It was a place that went down that stored up to 20 megabytes of your personal data. Its purpose was to be a good place to store all that when you didn't have any on your home machine in 1998. And it had been around for 10 years. And one day, they announced, we're closing it in 60 days. Bye. And I was like, you don't have a spare thumb drive? Are you guys out? What are you out? Why are you doing this? What is your problem? For instance, a place like Coghead, which I don't even remember what they're about. They're gone. They've they've gotten rid of whatever they're doing, and somebody else had bought them out. So they basically are closing down because someone bought them. Trim, well, we'll deal with Trim in a moment, but Encarta was basically like, wow, we really fucked up trying to do an encyclopedia online. We're closed. Encarta was basically Microsoft's encyclopedia product, and guess what? They just couldn't keep it up, so they closed it. You can almost find those motivations, but Briefcase really struck me because there was something about Briefcase closing. Such a small, insignificant site. Such a meaningless little thing. Why would someone kill that? And the only reason I can come up with it killing it is that a middle manager had to show movement within his small fiefdom. And the way he could show it was that he was shutting down a very likely non-financially lucrative site to show that this quarter there had been action within his little fiefdom. I'm really at a loss to come up with any other solution or concept that would cause someone to go like Control-Alt-Delete that. I don't know really any way you would get rid of it. So the solution, I thought, was that someone should found a team of archivists who, when they discovered a site was going down, that they would go in and copy it all and then deal with the problem later. So that became the archive team. We are going to rescue your shit. And the reason that it says we're going to rescue your shit was because I wanted it very clear that this was not going to be some happy-go-lucky, pleasantly themed, fun little group doing their best to bring together separate groups and so on. I did not want that. I didn't want that feel of the impotent academic saying something's wrong and so I've started an investigation on a thing with this stuff. I wanted it that was like, we're a hostile force that will clean up your mess and make fun of you the whole time you're doing it and be available for you. That's a very specific position. And I realize it's not for everybody, but it was for a group of 50 to 60 people who assembled around me to start doing it. There is a group called the League of Movable Type. The League of Movable Type says fonts suck because they're the last group to really kind of understand their entire business model has gone to crap. But we're going to solve it by just coming up with brand new fonts for free and then putting them out for free with a lot of fanfare and attention so that people will realize, oh, I can have fonts for free that are actually pretty good quality. So they're very hostile, and we kind of like each other. We've talked to each other a lot. We get along. So what's going on here is there are some ideas that when we look back on them, we say this wasn't a very good idea at all. This one's a double vector. It's one of my favorites. It's an asbestos ad that uses the World Trade Center as an example of the usefulness of asbestos. And what it's saying here is like, you know, it's going to take 2 hours to get out of the World Trade Center, and asbestos will help you. All right, great, whatever, Jason, that's really shocking, and I'm miserable. There's ideas that we look back now and we say, this is absolutely awful. This is a ad for slaves from 1861 that reads like a used car ad. The position that the guy takes is basically, I have high-quality slaves, people who can do seamstresses, they can be field hands, and I am a trustable service. Literally, like, trust me. People can tell you, I always give you the high-quality slaves. At which point, any person in the contemporary mind space will probably go, at what point do you not think you're trading in actual human beings that deserve as many rights as you have? Like he's gotten, it's one thing when it seems like some kind of uneducated guy is just like, well, I'll do whatever I can to make money, but this guy is trying to appeal to your intellectual sense that he is a good slave trader and you should buy his high quality slaves. This disconnect between the contemporary mind space and that is what I'm getting here. Similarly, DDT is good for me. DDT causes cancer, by the way. Here it is being sprayed, as was often the case, on the beach in summer, directly into the children, to get rid of all those crazy-ass bugs. And in fact, there's even innovation where we have DDT wallpaper that you could put up easily to protect your children against insects by covering their entire nursery in DDT. By the way, anyone, don't do this. Okay, Magnolia. So in this contemporary mind space that we live in now, Magnolia went down. What's Magnolia? Magnolia was basically a bookmarking service. You could bookmark sites and share them with others and then comment on them. And one day they went down. But they went down because the organizers said, we're having real trouble with our backups. We're trying to fix it. Help us. Keep track of it. We're going to work on it. We're bringing this thing together. You know, here we go, Magnolia. And eventually they had to announce, yeah, sorry, totally unable to recover the database. All of your data is gone. There is no chance of it getting back. I'm so sorry. His name is Larry Half. Larry Half is a fuck. Let me explain why Larry Half is a fuck. Larry Half is a fuck because he had been running Magnolia since 2002. It was now 2009. Turned out that they were doing a single MySQL backup to a single database, but it wasn't actually backing up to that database for 5 years. And it was